Let me get rid of these. Let's finally get into this Cam video. Damn, it's almost 9:30. All right. We're just gonna do the clip. We're not gonna do a long form video. All right, here we go. Hold on. I pulled the Biden. I thought y'all was
A lot
listening.
of people
Robert.
see my situation and not think that I'm not high function.
What situation?
Okay, so I'm not married. I have beautiful children.
How many?
8.
By how
8.
many women?
3. And this is the kicker. I want more.
By multiple women? What's the intent
I
of
just
this in?
want
Or
God
by
to
your
bring
wife?
them. I just want God to bring them.
Oh, okay.
My desire to get married is lower than my fear of divorce. So, as you would say it, Dr. Brian, you said it, I didn't say it, I will agree. I'm just taking my time.
You're not taking your time.
Before we get into that, how do y'all feel about Cam so far? He said that his fear, his desire, I'm not sure exactly what word he used, but his desire to get married is not as strong as his fear of getting divorced. I believe that's what he said. Am I getting ready to attack the previous generation again? And I can't attack the previous generation without calling out myself. It is very important. I got to get married and I have to have kids soon. I have to. Why? Because it's important. Remember when we had the conversation about Kirk Franklin and the church, and he was calling out how certain churches won't allow certain kids to work with the younger kids in their church community if they're not married. And we discussed like, is that a good thing or a bad thing? If I'm going to be working around kids right now, it would be better for me to be married and showing them an example of a healthy marriage rather than just being single or not married. That's a real thing, right? But the reason why I said, am I going to call out the older generation is because why does our generation, why are we so scared to death of marriage? We are scared to death of marriage. And Ant just wrote, bro, don't rush it. I don't want to rush it. I definitely don't. And I won't. But it's like it's needed. It's needed. And I understand, and this is what makes me so mad. And a lot of times, yeah, y'all hear me go off on tangents, but this is what makes me so mad and why you always hear me calling out the older generation. We have a gender war. We have a gender war. Fellas, ladies in the chat, y'all tell me, do y'all not feel that we have a gender war? And I used to say, especially in the Black community, but now, just being honest, it's across the board. It's American culture. There's a gender war between young men and young women where there's a blame game. And as a fan of Kevin Samuels, I'm telling you, I'm a fan. That is why his page can become so popular, because there is a war that, just like when MSNBC or Fox News or CNN, people want to watch them when there's a war or with all the fear and hatred, the fear mongering going on, more people are going to watch. It's the same thing with a Kevin Samuels. We are at war. We are at war. Hold on. Hold up. Before I get it, let me plug in my computer. Hold on. Let me plug in my computer, the charger. I was not expecting to be on. We may be on a little bit. So let me not get caught slipping. But we're at war. We're at war. We don't naturally just get along with the like men don't naturally just get along with women and vice versa. We are at war. So when I ask ourselves, I'm like, how did we get to this position? Who has programmed us? What did we see? What have our experiences taught us? What have the experiences of what we've seen taught us in the household? We were not prepared to be married. We were not prepared to have healthy relationships. We just weren't. And I'm speaking from somebody that comes from a 2-parent household, but I'm speaking about the overall issue. There is a gender war. So the reason why I was saying that, and y'all will always hear me talk about the leadership. When I talk about leadership, I will always be specific in calling out men. Well, a lot of times our male leadership has been so terrible that it's developed, whether it's men not showing up for women, men not being providers, men not being protectors, men not being leaders, and men can sit here and say all this stuff. Well, they don't want to do it. That may be true, but as the leader, bro, make it make sense. Figure it out. Figure it out. Maybe you're supporting a political party that is emasculating men, but then at the same time complaining about women won't listen to you. So this is why, like, we can't just look at like, oh, well, it's perfectly normal for a group of people, a community to just say, oh, I don't want to get married. Why would I want to get married? We'll just accept that as the norm when in all actuality, it should be the opposite. Yo, I want to get married. I need marriage is a necessity. There's nothing greater than having what's the word y'all like to use? Partner to go through life with and build and grow with. Build a family. But why do we look at it the way that we look at it now? Let me catch up with these chats. Hold on. So Ant wrote, you're not leaving yourself open to an alignment of being married. Focus on that. No. I don't know why you would say that. I'm definitely leaving myself open to an alignment of being married. I'm just also highlighting not only the struggles that I go through, but I'm highlighting the struggles that I see in the community. We are not prepared. There is a whole lot of resentment. When I have conversations with, whether it's with Maya, with my mom, with other women, everybody understands that there is a lot of resentment between men and women. So I'm just calling those things out. When I say that I'm on my way, that we need to get married, we need to get married. So maybe it would be better to say, yes, I'm aligning myself with the things that I want, so therefore I can get married. Yeah, we can say all that stuff, but marriage is a necessity. Marriage is a necessity, in my opinion. Ant wrote, work on being a husband. None of this requires a wife at first. That's a fact. But Ant, I'm 37. I think you're missing my point. Of course, I'm working on being a husband, but none of us were working on being a husband in our 20s, or the majority of us weren't working on being a husband. We should have been working on being a husband since we were 15. We should have been embracing this leadership mentality at a younger age, just like our women are getting to the age of 36 and then finally realizing like, oh, I want to be, living in my soft life. I want to embrace femininity. We've been sold a lie for our developmental years. So then it becomes harder and harder. Now, are we still going to do the work? Is it still on us to do the work? Of course. But me highlighting this, I'm putting pressure on myself to now make sure that when I have kids, that they're developing things in their teen years, in their 20s, rather than waiting till 37 like I did. You get what I'm saying? We should have been developing this mentality, these leadership qualities, financially sound and responsible, being able to be the provisionary, all these different things we should have been developing at a younger age. So I'm not saying that I'm not still doing. Of course, you got to still do it. But why not develop them at a young age? Because heads up, I just went to a bat mitzvah the other day, and I know people like to always say, well, just because the other community does it doesn't mean that they're doing it right. My man that I just went to a bat mitzvah, he got married at 22. Jewish people get married very early and they start their life. Why? Because they were prepared early. Why? Because they're not getting distracted with all this other stuff that we're distracted with. Why? Including the education system. Why? Because they're learning totally different things when they're going to their Jewish centers and getting education from the time they're young kids compared to this public education system. So Ant wrote, we men will do the work to become who we need to be for a new business, a new sporting event, body goals, etc. We should do the same. Be a husband. Ant, we're doing all those things late. Look at a business. We were not prepared to be successful business owners. We had to do the work. But we're competing against people that are prepared at a younger age. This is all I'm saying. I don't place any blame or anything. Like, I'm going to get mine regardless. I'm going to attain my goals regardless. But what I'm saying is, why not put us in a better position? Why not put the next generation? Why just sit back and say, like, am I just going to sit back and say, yo, next generation, y'all on y'all own, man. Y'all do it y'all way. I'm not accepting any responsibility. I know I brought you into this world, but I'm not accepting any responsibility in your development. No, I'm not doing that. To each their own. But I think when you bring people into this world, when you bring kids into this world, when you're raising a family, it's your duty and responsibility to make sure that they are developing in the areas that they will need to be as early and efficiently as possible. That's all I'm saying. Ant wrote, you were not prepared to be a business owner or podcast either, but you did the work. Yes, and I'm 37, Ant, and if I was prepared to do this earlier on, I would have been doing this at 20. I'm gonna give you a perfect example. Hold on, let me take this off the screen. I'm gonna give you a perfect example. If I knew, and now this has nothing to do with the parents, but this is just an example of if you know things earlier on, if you're paying attention to how things work, I'm gonna give you an example. I just went and looked up some of our old videos. When we used to come down to Miami from 2010 on, we used to record everything. We used to be in big houses, from big houses to staying in a 8 of us, 6 of us in just a regular room at the Marriott. But we were recording everything. We were doing all these same things. We were doing exactly what a lot of these influencers do, like the Kai Cenat. Now, I understand that the market was not there. I understand that that was not there. But if we positioned ourselves, if we were thinking about things a little bit differently, then who knows? Maybe we would have sparked certain things in our minds that would have allowed us to take advantage of those things. If I was more prepared to in other areas of my life, then maybe I could have started podcasting a lot earlier. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. This is just my mentality. To each there is no right, wrong, cool. When I'm preparing my kids and what I think that we need to take on for the next generation is to make sure that we're preparing them to compete and providing them with the foundational skills that will give them the best chance to be successful in life. And look around. There's a reason why the Black community is at the bottom in America. There's a reason why our household income is at the bottom in America. There's a reason why we have the least amount of power leverage in America. There's a reason why people will make promises to us and not even have intentions of keeping them to us, but they'll make promises to other groups and actually fulfill those things. There's a reason for all these things. Hold on, let me try to catch up with these comments because I know I'm late. Shy wrote, everybody wants to be in control. I agree. Ant wrote, I've learned a large part of manifestation is doing the work on ourselves to become who we need to be. Of course, bro. Same applies to marriage. Don't go looking for a wife. Look to become a good husband first. Of course, bro. I'm not negating the gender war. I agree, but we talking about just you and I, pause. This is the thing. What Queez just said, it's only getting worse, Ant. If everybody, we can't just look at it just like what you just said, Ant. We can't look at it as just you and I. This is a generational problem. We're not having kids. We're not getting married. You're saying be patient, but in all actuality, Ant, just a heads up, you can be as patient as you want. And you can tell women to be as patient as we want, but their bodies at a certain point, they're not going to be able to have as many kids. Them getting pregnant is going to be harder and harder. Them going through a pregnancy is going to be harder and harder. They're going to have more miscarriages. They're going to have all these complications that come up when you wait a little bit longer to have kids. It just is what it is. So all I'm saying is like, hey, how can we make sure that, of course, just like Quee said, things are only getting worse. How can we make sure that we put a stop to that and reverse it to things getting better? Ant wrote, I understand the timetable, but don't let it be the reason you rush into something. That's all I'm trying to say. Everything else I agree with. Facts. Yeah, nobody approach becoming, just like you said, approach becoming the best man, the best leader, the best husband that you can as efficiently as possible. So that means as fast and effective as possible. Approach it with as much intent as you can as early as possible. That's what I'm saying. I wasn't worried about being a husband at 20, but why not? Because a lot of the people that I look up to, the people that I may be turning to now, like, hey, will you invest in something that I'm doing? They did it at that age. So I'd be a fool to not look at them and say like, damn, what's up with their culture? Why does their culture do this? Why is their culture not experiencing these same issues that we experience? Why are we doing? You get what I'm saying? I agree about preparation. That's exactly what I was saying, by the way. I understand. I think we're saying the same thing. Facts. Y'all was on y'all living y'all best life era. I remember the whips and houses, bro. You already know, bro. I'm over here. I really be thinking, yo, whenever I see like Kai Cenat and all these info, I'm like, yo, we were doing this and recording it. We was the ones walking around on vacation the whole time recording everything before we even had cameras on phones. We had to get, and I'm just like, damn, yo, we just missed it. We missed it. Why? Maybe because we were worried about other stuff. Why? Because I got to get a job. Why? Because I'm thinking about football and all this other goofy stuff. I don't know. Anthony, so Ant wrote, those, however, were not vibrations of a husband, though. That's the point, Ant. We were wasting our time in our 20s doing certain things that don't necessarily align what's conducive for success. Now we're playing catch up compared to the people that we're competing against. And now we have all these years. It's like if I talk to a woman, let's say she's 35, a lot of my homegirls in that age range, a lot of them have come out and said like, yo, we've been sold a lie. Like, I didn't realize we've been sold a lie to try to climb the corporate ladder. Now all we want is love and a family. I want to be a mom. I want to be a wife. Okay, but you've been developed in your greatest developmental years where you're a sponge, learning new things, able to learn new things in an effective way. You're being taught the things that do not align with the things that you're going to eventually want in your mid 30s to late 30s. So that's what I'm saying. The reason why when I'm a parent, I hope that I would have some type of influence over my kids. And it's not just about the parents, it's about and their direct influence. It's about what we allow our kids to watch on TV. It's about the music. It's about all these things that we normalize that are putting us in demonic places or places not aligned with where we will eventually want to go. I'll give you I ain't gonna go that way. All right, all right, let me not. It had nothing to do with anybody on here, but I just thought about something. I understand as a man who rushed marriage at a young age to only lead to divorce. I'm just trying to stop you from repeating my mistakes. I thought I did the work up front. I did not. And Ant, that's what we're saying. You said at a young age. Why do you say at a young age? It's only young compared to me waiting. But if you were properly prepared for marriage, then it wouldn't have been a rush thing. You get what I'm saying? If we were properly prepared, my stomach's growling. If we were properly prepared, then things would not be seen as rushed, because we look at getting married at anything under 30 as young. Whole time, there's other communities, you get married at 29, 30, they were like, yo, what you waiting for? So it's just all perspective based on our experiences and based on what's taught in our communities. Ant wrote, I wanted a life partner since I was like 20, but I had no idea who I was fully. Yeah, and I'm never going to know who I am fully. I mean, it's all just based on, I'm continuing to develop. I never want to, once I know who I am, then that's just who I am. Like I'm changing every day who I am, because I have a goal. That's the whole point that we were talking about earlier in the show. I'm never going to be comfortable with who I am. I'm always going to consistently challenge myself to become a better leader, to become a better person, to become a better listener, to become more stoic, to become more in control of my emotions. I'm constantly developing who I am. I'm never going to know who I am to a point where it's like, that's who I am moving forward. And I know that that's not what you're saying. I'm just, if people are hearing it, they may not know, they may not know you, so therefore they may take it a certain way. So I just wanted to give some context. Yeah, it was timing. That was all. Shoot. Oh God, I'm gonna try to get through these fast. All right. Access and influence hurting our relationships. We have access to everyone in the world. Our influence is FBs, get money. I'm an independent woman. That's a fact. So now think about this. We're not only less prepared, but now we're in an environment that's more competitive, more toxic, more demonic, a whole lot of access to a lot more negative influences. And this is what happens. This is why we have the rich homie Quans passing at such young ages. That stuff bothers me. That's why we have the situations that we occur. We talk about Nipsey Hussle getting. Why are all these things happening? And it's because of our mentality. It's because we think so young. It's because we have never developed into a community that is conducive for success. Have to realize what's going on. Facts. Aunt Ro, this is going to sound crazy. I've been working on being a good man to lead a family since high school. Sounds crazy, but still got divorced. Put God first, and timing won't matter. Yeah, because Aunt, what you just described is it's. I'm sure it's not. A marriage is not one-sided, right? And that's the thing. That's why it's even more important to do those things that you're saying as far as preparing ourselves, because we're only half of that. It's still, marriage takes us working with somebody else. So if we're both not learning from a young age how to be the best husband, how to be the best wife, then how do we think that the hardest thing that we will ever do in our lives? I've never been married, so I don't know, but talking to people, marriage seems to be like the biggest challenge. I'm not gonna say the hardest thing, but the greatest challenge that we'll ever have in our lives. But we're not prepared for it. You're correct. I should have said younger. 30 is the new 20, bro. It really is, yo. It really is, man. Look, we about to turn 40 in 3 years, and I'm like, damn, like you compare our lives to some of the things and how our parents were already married, had families, had houses. Yeah, 40 may end up being the new 20, and that's a terrible thing to say. Aunt wrote, I'm not gonna lie, Queens, my 30s making me think my 40s about to be lit as laughing my ass off. That's gonna be, I didn't even read your comment, but all right, so you're saying it in a positive way. And that's the thing, Aunt, to be totally real, well, I guess because you got married young, but even if you didn't get married young, I want to see, I get excited when I see my bro Jan or Rel curating some dope spaces with their wives. I get excited when I see that because I'm like, that looks fun. Marriage looks fun. So when I see people my age that are doing it and it makes fun, that inspires me. So yeah, I'm like, I want to see more of that. And I want it to be a fun thing. Like, why not have fun like in your marriage? Like, that should be fun. But because we're so accustomed to what Cam said in his mind, where we're looking at marriage is just like, nah, as a man, I'm a successful man. I make good money. So therefore, I'm not going to put myself in a position where she could take half of what I got and all this. We're so fearful. It's no different than how we look at politics. We're just motivated and making decisions based on fear rather than based on the positive aspects of something. Aunt wrote, him passing at 34 and Fat Man Scoop was way too young. Yeah, bro, it's tough. I hear you, Dak. This is not a gender specific message, by the way. American culture is the biggest threat to marriage. That's a fact, bro. That's a fact. Let's keep going with this Cam video a little bit. Damn, it's almost 10. I had a whole bunch of other videos that Aunt sent me that I wanted to get through. And I told y'all on Wednesday, I was like, am I committing to a show on Thursday? But we may have to have a weekend show. We just may have to have a weekend show. By the end, I will either commit to it or not commit to it. But we'll see how it plays out. All right, let's get back to this Cam video. A lot of people
see my situation and not think that I'm not high functioning.
What situation?
Okay, so I'm not married. I have beautiful children.
How many?
8.
So a lot of people will look at his situation and see that he's not high functioning. Do you think that he's high functioning? Maybe that's something to think about while we're watching this video.
By how many women?
3. And this is the kicker. I want more.
By multiple women? What's the intent of this about your wife?
I just want God to bring him.
Oh, okay.
My desire to get married is lower than my fear of divorce. So, as you had said, Dr. Brian, you said it, I didn't say it, I will agree. I'm just taking my time.
You're not taking your time.
I am, though.
You're being very action-based. You're not taking your time.
I'm taking my time.
You're being very action-based. You have 8 kids with 3 different women.
Yes.
You are creating, procreating, and multiplying. That is not taking your time.
Is he taking his time? Am I taking my time? Was I taking my time in my 20s, or was I just focused on something else? Was I taking my time in my early 30s, or was I just focused on something? I'm asking. I got to ask myself these questions too. Y'all know I'm going to call myself out. With all these things, I'm going to call myself out, and regardless, I don't care. Like I do care. I want to call myself out. I want to get critiqued. I want to learn. And the more these are the areas, this is where I'm comfortable being vulnerable. I know they preach us being vulnerable. You could cry, you could do all this stuff, to each their own. You could do that type of stuff too. But this is being vulnerable in a way where I'm open to critique. Why? Because whenever playing sports, that criticism, whether it came from an asshole coach or a coach that loved me, whatever it is, that critique, when I processed it, 99% of the time, it made me a better player. So therefore, I'm open to criticism. I want to put myself in the same conversation. I want to see if I'm Cam, what, or related just to me. I don't want to just critique Cam. I want to critique myself as well. And shout out to Hold Up. I think the big homie Brandon just came in. So shout out to Brandon Stanley. He just came in. I've been married for 26 years. I often have told new couples that maturation comes differently for individuals. Each couple should seek someone counselor each year for a marriage wellness check or well check. Yeah, I think that we should seek this type of counselor, and we should seek counsel for almost every aspect of our life. A lot of us don't have mentors. A lot of us don't have counselors. 100%. And it has to be something where I like about it. You say each year because it's something that never stops. It's something that never stops. I think just overall, we've been so accustomed to a society, whether it's, I can't wait until I can retire. I can't wait until, with fitness, people think, I can't wait until I have a nice body. They think that the work is going to stop. I can't wait until I make this amount of money. They think the work's going to stop. Like you just make a certain amount and you're just good. No, you have to continue to work harder. You have to become smarter. Now to figure out what to do with that money. Now to figure out what to do with that new situation. Now to figure out what to do with that marriage, as Brandon is suggesting. 100%. Maybe we need counselors. This is what I'm saying. Like, why were we taught to put a condom on a banana, but we weren't taught how to communicate with the opposite sex? We were told how to penetrate women, but we weren't taught how to converse with women. We weren't taught how to protect women. We weren't taught how to provide for women. We weren't taught any stuff. Why are we I'm just questioning the things that we were taught based on where we are now. Because we are just like I said earlier, that attitude reflects leadership. Our lives reflect leadership. Our lives right now reflect the things that we prioritize as far as the leaders in our lives. If you value this person that's a business person and they're living a particular life, and that's who you idolize, naturally your life is going to be more aligned with theirs. Think about what Ant said earlier with the alignment. So what are we aligning ourselves with? Everything is trajectory, right? So at this stage, we may think like, we're only moving in this direction a little bit, or we're only going downhill, but it's only a little bit. But when you extend that little bit compared to if we would have been aiming up here, you end up in a totally different place, right? And sorry, the camera, y'all get what I'm saying. Y'all get what I'm saying. So Ant Row, getting back to Cam, he's not coming from a place of abundance. His fear will put him in a place of scarcity. He is not leaving himself open to a wife at all. Dak, your focus was different. Yeah. Cam is, and I don't know where Cam's focus was. Maybe his experience has made, I'm sure that his experience, he got 8 kids. I think he's got 8 kids, by 3 mothers. And just Cam probably wouldn't want me to say that, not that I know Cam, but just to be clear, he has taken responsibility. I think this is important to note that he's taken responsibility for some of those kids that he did not birth. But he did not. They're not his biological kids, but he still accepts them and treats them as his kids. I think that that's a very honorable thing. So I just wanted to highlight that, because sometimes when you hear 8 kids by 3 different mothers, you're automatically thinking some things, but I also want to provide the full context because we are just listening to a small clip. So I wanted to make sure that I provide that context. Ant wrote, what Brandon is talking about is part of the foundational steps that I did not know going into marriage. The tools were not there that we needed to, the tools were not there that we needed going into year 8. And that's the thing. Why were you not provided those foundational steps, bro? That's what I'm saying. Why does every generation have to touch the stove? If I touch the stove, I don't, and I realize that the stove is hot, I don't want my kids to touch the stove. I want to teach them certain things to where they just understand at a very young age, just don't touch the stove, to where they're not even thinking about it. They're not even worried about it. They're thinking their concerns are on something totally different. You see what I'm saying? Ant wrote, laugh my ass off. Cam sounds like he's trying to he's trying to be swept off his feet by his future wife. Laugh my ass off. It may be her. I think when I was younger, Brandon wrote, I think when I was younger, no one explained marriage counseling as something that was something everyone should do. It was always thought of as something negative. We need to change that. I agree. Didn't it used to be customary to where you had to have marriage counseling before you even get married? I know that that's not, it's not as, it doesn't happen as often now, but I think that was more of a thing before. Ant wrote, he sounds like he wants to be a kept husband. Have to open yourself to being vulnerable. Facts, Queez. Facts, Queez. It is a challenge that people are afraid to accept. Facts, bro. Facts, bro. It's so, people are so scared. People are so insecure. And that I think plays out in so many different areas of our lives, whether it's you can talk politics with somebody or just life in general with somebody, and you can point out very clearly and effectively, like, hey, based on all these examples that I'm going to give you, maybe it makes sense to move this particular way. People will agree and still say, nah, I'm doing something else. Why? Because they do not want to open themselves up to somebody else's thinking, somebody else's suggestion. It's a very insecure, weak mindset, in my opinion. If what you believe is honorable, then why not be open? What are you scared of? If what I believe is the truth, then why would I not be open to, hearing other people's opinions? In all actuality, if what I believe is the right thing, then hearing other people's opinion is only going to make me, if anything, if what I already believe is the right thing, then it's going to make me stand on it even more. Let's see. Ant wrote, every generation in our community, by the way, has to touch the stove because we have a hard time seeing into the future from survival mode. I agree, bro. And that's a terrible place to live in. It's a terrible place to live in, survival mode, begging political parties it's a terrible place to be in, to where, because we are in survival mode, because we're worried about how we're going to put food on the table, because, we've worked our whole lives. And I'm being totally honest. This is a generational thing, and I don't really want to critique it, but I've talked to many of my friends, some of their parents, and it's a very scared place to be in when if it's okay with y'all, I'm going to go a different direction. I feel like I've already been, hammering down a certain point that I don't want to be excessive. So I hate when people start off saying stuff and then they stop, but if it's okay with y'all, I hope y'all excuse me. I'm going to stop there as far as what I was about to say. Alana wrote, we can have a conversation anytime about marriage. Answering these questions over text is difficult. Spiritual development in childhood plays a big part in relationships. Lots of corrections and fixing. No, always appreciate that, Lana. Always appreciate that, Lana. And that's a perfect example. A perfect example. How did I hold on? I'm talking about my man, Rel and Jan. The people that I've actually been around to experience a dope marriage, Ursi and Lana. To the point where maybe because y'all having so much, I see y'all having so much damn fun, I don't even think y'all married, because in my mind, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just joking. But in my mind, when I see younger people that are having a good time, I'm almost thinking like, yeah, they're not married. You know what I mean? Just because our brainwashing and indoctrination of what Cam said, we scared of marriage. We like, yo, marriage, what? Why would I do? You get what I'm saying? But definitely, that's a perfect example when you have, and that's why it's important to surround ourselves with people that are living the examples of where we want to be. You get what I'm saying? Ant wrote, other cultures will keep business in a family for centuries. We're relatively new to business and ownership as a people. If we can learn that we don't have to start from scratch, speaking for myself too. Yeah, and we are all calling ourselves out. And I think that's why it's so dope. And I think that, to be totally honest, our conversations here are a little bit the exception because if y'all, I'm just being honest, especially Queez know, Ant know, Urs knows, Lana probably knows at this point, but a lot of y'all know, like, listening to me or having conversations to me, if you're not open to a different way of thinking, then you're probably not going to spend as much time as I'm so grateful that y'all spend with us having these conversations. You wouldn't even be here. I'm just being honest. If you're not an open person, you're not going to be here. You're not going to be here. So these conversations are like, we think about all the topics that we discuss where we don't have any issues. We don't have any hatred. We don't all think the same. We don't all believe the same, but we're open to conversations. We're open to seeing things differently than we currently see them. Alana wrote, most people aren't mentally ready for partnership. Agree 100%. Alana wants to cam up, camera, not Cam Newton. I'm looking like, what? Yo, we gotta, shoot, and hold up. Now, y'all remember a while ago, Ant agreed to join the show. I think we have something cooking right here. How dope would it be? And I don't even need to, I think that should not be a live, I don't think that should be a live show, I'll be totally honest, but how dope would it be to just have people that have experienced marriages come on and I can kind of just interview y'all, no debating, no nothing, but I could just come on, we could just talk about different challenges. I could talk to you about different fears that I have looking into marriage, and y'all can tell me what y'all experienced. Maybe that's a conversation that we need to be having on a consistent basis, and maybe this is the platform for it. Lana wrote, don't get me in trouble, and I'm just here with my whispers to create traffic. And just to be clear, hold up. First and foremost, Urs probably looking at me like, Urs probably got the Arthur fist. You know the meme with the Arthur fist balled up? Like, nah, he ain't talking about it. No, all positive stuff. And just, we'll talk about it later. Aunt Ro, wait, let me state, my parents been together 30 years and my grandparents 60, but again, the communication and trust wasn't there. Sometimes an example is just not enough to build a foundation. Yeah, and this is the thing, you bring up a great point, because I think because we're so accustomed to not having two-parent households nowadays, and like I said, it's an American issue. We've always seen it in the Black community, just to be honest, or we haven't always seen it. We've always seen it since a lot of these social programs were implemented, and it was incentivized for women to not be with men. Whatever, yeah, I know. But we've seen this in recent years, happen in the Black community, but we're seeing it happen overall in just America. And therefore, what happens? The bar is so low where it's like, damn, we got all these single parent households that are hurting our kids. Now we look at, okay, just two parents being in a household, we know that that's going to be significantly better than just a single parent, mother raising the kids, what we typically see. However, we can ask for more. It doesn't have to be just two parents in the household. It could be two parents thriving in the household, having fun, building foundations that can be passed on from generation to generation, building business, building principles, building values, creating whatever your religion is. I'm big on that. Every household, I think, should have their religion, their own religion, their rules that they live by. Write down some of the stories. No different than the Bible. The Bible's a book of stories. Why can't we used to pass down oral history, right? That's the same thing. We pass down stories that our family and friends have gone through. We could even write them down, so therefore our next generations can be taught those things and learn from the examples and the experiences of the people before them. That's just what I believe. But yeah, I digress. Lana wrote, in between doing the work, we be having the fun. Gotta have the fun. Ant wrote, Alana, he said there will be a weekend show. I'm down. Hold up. Ursi can edit it. Do we have a commitment? It sounds like we have a commitment. Hold on. Urs can edit it. Hold up. But I get why. Hold on. Yeah, Ursi has to be the editor on that one. That's why I said that can't be a live one. That's got to be pre-recorded to where everybody's cool with it. Matter of fact, you know what? All right, so what about this idea? So I don't know if y'all saw, but we are almost at that point where we're able to have a membership where it's like the YouTube eligibility program where you become a partner, influencer, whatever it is, partner, whatever, where you can have members. So then we can have certain um, videos and shows that you have to be a member in order to access. So maybe some of those shows are better for the just like, you know, our community that we're more comfortable with, and us having an understanding of exactly who can see the video and who it's, you know, I think that may be a little bit a better way of looking. So we're almost there. So maybe that's where the direction that we can go. Because, you know, some conversations every conversation doesn't be need to put out for the world, but to the people that we feel comfortable with, to the people that are in our community that we have conversations with, respectful conversations, maybe it's geared more towards that. All right, let's kind of keep moving. I cannot believe it's 10 o'clock. Hold on.
Very selectively active. Okay. So you're creating, in disclaimer, the kids are innocent. They are beautiful and amazing. Anything I say has nothing to do with them babies, but you are proactively choosing where you want to be active at and where you want to take your time. You want to take your time in having a wife because of your own fears. But you will, and I say this with all respect and love, what I'm about to say next, okay, Cam? But you will selfishly create broken families, even if you're in their life and you're a proactive father, and I believe you're an amazing daddy. I can only imagine with just your presence and knowing you. But these families are still broken. Every child cannot have Papa in the house with them. So some child, if not all, will end up with some kind of deficit without daddy being there. Now, you chose to do that. I'm not saying you sat there and woke up one morning and said, I want to be selfish today, so I'm going to go make a baby. Not saying that at all. But those are selfish acts at the expense of your fear. And yeah, that is a low functioning behavior to say that I'm going to build these houses and put kids and these beautiful women and kids in them, but I ain't going to create a home in them. I'm going to wait till I dissipate my fear to find a wife where I'm still going to be fearful with, because there's no such thing as not having some type of nerve or some type of feeling behind marrying somebody. And then I'm going to build a home with her while all these other beautiful babies have houses. That's completely unfair and that's selfish. And so, yes, you're taking your time in this department, but you're not taking your time in this department, which means you're compartmentalizing and compartmentalizing.
Why she got that damn shirt on? Whatever it's called, that dress. Come on, ma'am. Ma'am, I'm distracted. And I shouldn't have said that, but so I've seen a little bit more of the videos, just to be honest with y'all. And a lot of stuff has come out afterwards, and the stuff that she's saying. Let's finish the video.
Never works. Compartmentalizing hurts everybody involved. Everybody who's in this box and that box and this box and that box and this box. And then here you go over here trying to figure out what box you're going to feed or entertain or do. Then you're looking outside to figure out who's your next victim to put in the box. It's unhealthy.
A lot of people see my situation.
All right. I agree. Our fear of marriage has us validating certain situations because of what? Because we see it as the lesser of two evils. It's similar to how we vote. So we're going to choose a situation where it's like, yo, I know this isn't ideal for my kids, but it's better than us having, you know, I'm going to rationalize it because I don't need to be married. And why would I have a toxic marriage compared to us just, you know, even though I may not live with my kids in the same household, even though their mothers may not live in the same household with me. Cool, you know, because that's better than the other evil. So it's exactly what you said, low vibrational energy. Lana, oh, hold on, hold on. So Lana wrote low vibrational energy. I didn't. Y'all funny. Aunt wrote, damn, I have to agree with her a little bit. Nah, I definitely agree with her. What's so funny is that Cam and a lot of us, without hearing her speak, would be totally cool with what Cam's saying. A lot, and I'm not saying that I would, but I'm just saying a lot of us. You gotta, when you're not in the household with your kids, why not just set our standards on what's ideal? Especially if we're bringing kids in this world, set the standard for what's ideal. We're not going to always have the best outcome. That's fine. We're going to have divorces. We're going to have these type of things. But I tell you what, the higher we set the standard from the beginning and the work towards that high standard throughout, in any situation, it's going to put us in the best position to have the best outcome, rather than having a lower standard, which is just like, oh, nah, we ain't got to get married. Like, we ain't got to live together. Let's just, we could have a dope co-parent. That's cool. Of course, that's cool. But all I'm saying is the standard. We've allowed our fears to compromise our standards in a lot of ways. And when we compromise our standards, we're not doing the work, either one of us doing the work to actually have a successful relationship. It's like, how some kids walk into a test and they're like, yeah, I'm just trying to get a C, man. I'm just trying to pass. Who do we think is going to get the better grades? The kid that's just trying to pass, or the kid that's trying to get a 99 or 100? Like, yo, I'm pissed off. You've had those kids in class where it's like they get their test and you thinking that they failed. Whole time they got one wrong and they're just pissed off because they want to argue with the teacher saying like, no, this is right. Da, 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 da. The whole time you walking out the class happy with your D+, C-. That's what we are, a group of people that have been okay with getting D+ and C-. That's what we're saying. Y'all laughing at the shirt. My fault, I'm late. Man, why she wearing? Stop, Dak. Stop, man. Stop, bro. Stop, bro. Stop, man. Sometimes, stop, bro. Stop, bro. See, now I'm getting distracted. I'm distracting y'all with low vibrational energy. My bad. All right, so Ant wrote the truth, though. I'm not a fan of the messenger, but this message from her is a good one. So, Ant, that's what I was saying. And Ant, you probably seen more of the video. That's why I was getting ready to say some stuff, because it's the messenger. And I'll be totally honest, what a lot of people said to her afterwards, and maybe we'll look at a little bit more of this, but she's a dating coach. She's a doctor, but I think she's in her 40s, or she is 40, maybe low 40s, and she's not married. And Cam actually called her out asking that, like, well, why are you not married? You know what I mean? And based on the response, maybe we'll get to that on another show. I can't hold y'all. We got to get up out of here. Dak, Alana. All right. So Ant wrote Dak. Alana said, you being distracted with low functional behavior. Facts, bro. 4 agreements. Don't take anything personal. Facts, yo. Don't take anything personal. Nothing gets personal, bro. Nothing is personal, bro. Everything. We're just critiquing the play. We're not even critiquing the player. We're just critiquing how you played on that particular play. So let's actually finish it off with something positive. Let me finish it off with something positive.